Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly about the F4 SNC controller. I got one here on display and we got some documentation, so let's go over and see what the documentation says on the controller. Let's look at the specs real quick. So this controller comes in two different varieties. So the big one is the SNC 2515. Has 40 built-in I/O points. You can see the point types right here. The smaller one, the 1612, comes in 28 internal built I/O points. See the points right here. So, and each one of those controllers comes in two different varieties. So the dash 0 and the dash 4. The dash 0 will give you a 50 device limit underneath it, either MSTP or IP. You can bring in 50 devices into those dash zeros, and the dash 4s are a little bit cheaper, and they only allow you to bring in 4 devices under them, right? And each one of those has a handoff auto switch or non-handoff auto switch. Let me show you what the handoff auto switch looks like, because we have one set up here on our display. And as you see, it's the new style. Very nice. You can scroll through just by a couple clicks of the button. You can override just by clicking into it. See what the range is. You can see what's going on. It's a very nice display. Nice, big looking display. Big buttons. And those buttons aren't the kind that break. This is a flat touch button. Down here are the inputs. Up top are the outputs. The inputs at the bottom kind of look like the old DX9100. If you know what I'm talking about, if you're old enough for that, they're all stacked. You have an MSTP trunk, and then you have your SA bus as well. And on the bottom here, show you, you have your RJ11s for your SA bus and RJ11 for your map gateway for your FC bus. So overall, it's a nice big controller. It can definitely replace a DX9100 controller. But let's kind of talk about some of the bad things. The good things are it's a big controller, it's got a lot of I/O, got a lot of horsepower. The bad things are, yes, it is a network engine. So it's like a Cypher 50, but it's not a Cypher 50. It's not a Niagara controller. It does not have Fox services on it. That being said, JCI markets it as it can go underneath a supervisor, but only if you're going to use device packs on that supervisor that cost a lot more. This wouldn't count as a connection, a JACE connection under that supervisor. This would count as a backnet device. And so would the 50 other devices underneath this if you're hooking it up to the supervisor. So that would allow that would make you buy a lot more device packs than what you would have to if you're going with a normal JACE. Another negative here is this is CCT. So obviously all the newer Johnson controllers that you have to program with CCT, so nothing different there. And as you see here, we've chosen our F4 SNC, but the weird thing when you go to network settings, it doesn't give you the MAC address. It doesn't give you IP address. Well, why is that? Well, here's the why. When you go to transfer, it does not allow you to transfer this CCT to this controller directly. You can't do it with the map gate. You can't do it direct Ethernet. You can't do it with the Bluetooth. You can't do it. The only way to do this is to save the file, and then you have to use what's called SCT to get into the controller. So you have to go to your launcher right here, and then you have your SMP. This is your live version, and SCT. This is your back up version, your offline version. So your SMP looks like this. This is our live version. programming, SNC. So this is where our program lives, right here. This is the program that was already in this, that's playing around with it. Right? I don't have anything hooked up to it, so you're not going to see true values. But live, we're not able to do anything. Look, I can right click on this. I can right click on this. I can command it, right? I can modify it, but I can't do anything to it. So in order to load this, you have to go to, again, the SCT. So you get logged in there, and SCT looks like this, right? This is your offline version. So when I go over to local application, look, I can import CAD file. Sweet. I just named that one. It was on my desktop. I believe I named it chill water system right there. So I can import the CAD file. Failed to import the CAD file. Exception detected. This is, again, I've been having nothing but problems with these controllers. This is why I don't personally push this in the distribution role that I'm in. So when someone calls, I want to give them the true things, what's going on. But I could get on the phone with Johnson, but it's going to take forever for them to say, what's going on with this? Failed to import the CAD file. Exception detected. So I got to go figure out what that code is, because obviously it should work, but it's not working. And then whenever we go to upload or download the controller, you would go over here to Tools, Manage Archive, and you could download the device to the SNC. And then obviously, just like all the other Johnson, you're going to lose, everything will shut down, and then it's not to restart and come back up. So those are kind of the ugly things about this controller. Another sort of ugly thing is, here's the live view. So it's they claim I can do graphics, right? Well, let me just show you what a graphic looks like. So if we go insert graphic into this, let me show you what you get. Here's your edit. You can put a background view on here, right? You either need an SVG file, SVGZ file, or a JPEG file to put a background image in there. And then we could put other images on top of that, but we need the same kind of file. Then you got your little buttons over here that you can drag out onto your things. You got a little bit of dynamics there, and you got a little bit of gauges there, right? That we'd have to bind. Here's the bind button. We'd have to go in and bind this to the right spot in our controller. Those aren't very good graphics if you're thinking what you could do with the Cypher controllers or on the actual J. You could put a schedule in there. Schedule looks pretty good. But other than that, you're not looking at very good graphics package. So my biggest turnoff to this controller right here is going to be the unable to connect it to a supervisor, right? As a connection. Having to buy those device packs. Those device packs are expensive. They're a lot more expensive than just adding a connection. So the best thing to do would actually throw this under a Jace. Well, you're already paying the price of a network engine controller, so you're already paying for a Jace almost with some I/O to it. So that your best option, in my opinion, would be go with the F4 CGM or CGE controller, right? Either the MSTP or the IP controller, and then just put that under a Jace. So the 9090 has 9 inputs, 9 outputs. You would just have to keep adding XPM controllers underneath that to get your point count up to this, and then you would be good to go. Much better option. Thanks for watching the video.